This lesson is a groove breakdown of an intermediate level jazz swing pattern. Hi, my name is Dragon from Dragon Finger Drums, and I'm here to teach you how to play finger drums like a real drummer. If you want to learn the secrets to realistic drumming on the pads, make sure you don't miss out on my free finger drumming starter course. You can get it by clicking the link in the video description or the pinned comment down below. So I'm going to play the full pattern for you so you can see and hear what it sounds like, and then we'll break it down. So the fingering model that we're using for this pattern is our jazz ride fingering. So our dominant index finger is playing pad 15, the ride. Our dominant thumb is playing the closed hi-hat on pad 3. And now we're adding our non-dominant hand into the mix to do some simple ghost notes on pad 2, the snare here. So this is only one little step up from the basic jazz ride pattern, but it can be pretty complicated to get all these parts down, especially because one thing that we're really going to focus on in this groove particularly is the dynamics of our hits on the snare drum. We're going to want to play ghost notes, very soft hits. So this pattern isn't just about the hits, it's also about the dynamics. So that's why this is an intermediate level pattern, even though we're only adding one extra element and a few extra hits. So to get started with the ride cymbal pattern, we're just playing steady eighth notes. And on our closed hi-hat on pad 3, we are playing every other eighth note. We're playing the and. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And then, once we have that locked in, on the ride cymbal, we add a swing note, which is a 16th note triplet that happens every other eighth note. So when you add it in, it sounds like this. One helpful way to sort of break this up in your mind is the ride cymbal hits one note by itself, then the ride and the closed hi-hat hit together, and then the ride does a double hit by itself, and then that repeats. So it's 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and. And that's one way that we can break down patterns sometimes, is by thinking of them in ways that might not be totally conventional. Like if we were communicating with other musicians, we wouldn't really be explaining it like that. But for our own purposes, to sort of get a grasp on how this pattern is played and make it a little easier for the brain to recognize the pattern and how it's repeating, that is a good way to break that down. Now we're going to add our snare hits. So the snare is hitting on the and of 3 and then the E and the of 4. So I'm going to count out loud while I play it. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 E and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 E and a. So a little challenging maybe to put all three of those together, the ride, the hi-hat, and the snare, but we're going to play along with this for a little bit, not worrying about the dynamics yet. We do want those to be ghost notes on the snare, but for now we're just going to focus on getting the hits together. So play along with me, and we'll just repeat this loop for a little bit. So here we go. I'm going to play at a pretty moderate tempo, not at the full speed. Okay, so now that we've got those snare hits locked in, we're going to speed it up to our normal tempo, and we're going to start making those snare hits into ghost notes. Don't worry if you can't get it perfect right away. If some of your hits are a little inconsistent in their power, you just want to put as much attention as you can into making them soft. So instead of sounding like this, you want it to sound like this. Okay? So it's going to require some muscular control, but this is sort of, a practical way to apply ghost notes if you've already been working on them into an actual drum groove. So we're going to play at full speed here with the ghost notes. Here we go. So there you have it. That is our intermediate jazz swing groove. Of course, there are basically unlimited places that we could place ghost notes or snare hits or even tom hits or kick drum hits within the context of just that same jazz swing groove. And if you listen to jazz drumming, you'll know what I mean. There's a lot of different ways to accent and sort of spice up that groove. So this is just a basic intermediate level jazz swing groove. In the future in this category, we're going to be including all different types of jazz grooves, advanced level, all the different levels, many different variations. But this is just to get you introduced to the intermediate level of this type of rhythm.